right, welcome in. Good evening to and welcome to Baseball After Dark. We had to switch it from a baseball and coffee, but I'm actually really glad we did because, as you guys know, I'm sure, shit went down today and last night, but also more today. So it's actually way better because I don't think anything else is probably going to happen tonight as impactful as happened to start it off. So really appreciate you guys. I do see 3 guesses when AO changed the stream title. I actually changed it like 3 times today. So originally when I put up the upcoming, it was just like Ranger Suarez and international draft prospects, international signing prospects, because that just happened. And then it went to Tucker and Ranger, and then it went to Ranger, Tucker, and Bo, and then I even thought of editing again for JT, but I did not. So anyway, we are here. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I know. I have been talking to a lot of people on the old Discord pretty much all day today. So anyway, we're rocking and rolling. Tonight's coffee, good question. Before we get started, it's not coffee. I had a high noon earlier. That's long gone. And I had a little wine, like a white wine, like a rosé from the Clemente Museum in Pittsburgh. So we're off and rolling here. No coffee at night. But yep, Seaver Vineyards on the hat. Love the Seaver Vineyards hat. Oh my God, it still says that. I think you got to hit reload. All right, let me get it going here. Everybody, please subscribe. By the way, okay. So let's hit the main screen and let's get started. I think we should probably it's probably the right move to start with the biggest of the moves, which is Tucker. Right, Tucker was the most shocking. Stevie put out the tweet last night. Let me know when there's the smoke. I knew right away what he was talking about, but then he felt like he had to put out a subsequent tweet to explain, like when the Pope is elected, they wait for the smoke. That's the signal. Everybody just waits for the smoke. So obviously, Tucker had some decisions to make, and he ends up picking the Dodgers, just like it does seem like these days everybody else is doing. So let's just get right into the lineup, first of all, because you could talk about the money, whatever. The reality is he's on this baseball team. So what does it mean baseball-wise? It's interesting. Got 3 lefties in the top 4. I mean, they're all superstars. Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Tuck. Will Smith, Muncy is a 6-hole hitter. Teoscar is a 7-hole hitter. Tommy Edmonds, a really freaking good player. And Pages was incredible halfway through. So it's just an amazing collection of talent. It is interesting, the 3 out of 4 lefties at the top. So Mookie's incredibly important here. You can see a strategy of maybe trying to get through this group, but ultimately this is fantastic. And they just flex their muscle. No, I mean, it's funny at the beginning of the offseason, you hear all the lines that they weren't trying to do any big splashes. And all they've done this offseason is get steal Sugar from the Mets, and now Tucker from the clutches of the Mets and probably the Blue Jays. I guess the Blue Jays had the long-term offer. Mets had a similar offer. It kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. If you're a free agent and the Dodgers, it's got to be intoxicating when the Dodgers call you up. That's got to be. They've turned into that team. This is like the early 2000s Yankees. And so I do think I think this is going to make for a crazy season. We have a clear, like, top dog, villain type team to knock off. That's only gotten more stronger now. The fans are unhappy from a lot of the markets, not just the small markets. People are just frustrated with this because ultimately they're paying like $100-something million for this first year of Tuck. And I'm happy for Kyle Tucker. I mean, I know Kyle Tucker a little bit. It's incredible. From his perspective, I mean, why not? They're going to give you $60 million a year to go play on this baseball team. Like, that's fun. Right? That's fun. But I get the fans are mad. So let's see what we got in the chat, and then we'll go break it down a little bit further. 24 hours of baseball and coffee. My caffeine intake is off the charts. Well, I bet Santiago says he loves being a Dodgers fan. Does seem like a pretty good team to be a fan of, and I can understand that. I was a fan of the Dynasty Yankees back in the day, so I get it. So I get it. Let's see. Here we go. Why did Steve do that? Mm, I think that he was just like, it's out of my hands. I want to let the people know the decision is coming, and it's kind of out of my hands. It's in the ether. I don't think he could sit still. I think genuinely there was some nervous moments there for all parties involved. There's a lot of planning and the negotiation goes the way it goes, and then a lot of it's out of your hands in this situation. I can't imagine what it's like to actually be a player with actual power, where instead of like hoping that they give you the offer you want, it's more so the team is hoping that the absurd offer they gave you is accepted. So pretty cool to be in that spot. All right, already Nathan's getting after it. Dodgers did nothing wrong. It's most owners refusing to sign their homegrown players. That's why players like Shohei and Snell and Tuck are going to the Dodgers. That's the reality. I weighed in a little bit. I weighed in a little bit on my Discord, and I said, look, I mean, the reality is the Ohtani thing cannot be overlooked. If he wasn't worth $100 million without playing baseball, just like off the field, and he didn't earn like $1 billion a year for the Dodgers, then this all probably wouldn't happen. But that's the reality of it. The Dodgers did a good job putting themselves in position to be the team that he ultimately chose. And now, based on their compounding success now, and the rules being what they are, if they want to spend $100 million on 1 year of Kyle Tucker and maybe more than 1 year of Kyle Tucker, depending on what he decides, they can do that. That's fully within the rules. So they did not cheat, but it is crazy. It is crazy as shit. And this is the other side of the equation, what Omar is saying. All right. And also on the break. So, this is how the people are feeling out there. And I get that. I respect that. But anyway, let's get back. I will, I'm not going to leave that up there, I don't think. But let me go take a look. All right. So Tucker, interesting player, man. He had a kind of a weird 1 year in Chicago. Chicago ends up giving up Cam Smith, the entirety of Cam Smith's first 6 years in the big leagues to Houston for the 1 year of Tucker. So, I mean, this is a player that people have always. And myself included, I think Tucker's as close to a 5-tool player as there is. I mean, he's a really good hitter. When he's right, he's a really good defender. He's got kind of that like Iron Mike throwing action from the outfield with a good arm. He's been a part of winning teams. This is a guy who caught the last out of a World Series. Cubs were one of the top offenses in the game last year, and that's even with him being basically hurt for a while. So, I don't know. I've always felt like at first when I saw his swing, I used to think it was a little funky. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But it's not funky. It's just he has a really clean, functional way of kind of getting on plane. And he does a good job of not rolling his hands over, so he gets a lot of balls out into the outfield. These are his numbers from last year. He ended up getting 597 plate appearances, so an even 500 ABs, 266, 377, 464, 841 OPS. So it's not his best work, but that's still a damn good season if that's not your best work. Defensively, he has not been as electric as of late in terms of the range. Graded out as below average. Let's see how some of the trends are on him. Yeah, I mean, at one point, he was a pretty fast runner. I don't think he's slow. I think he's just more one of those guys that just kind of takes his time out there for the most part. It's weird that the outs above average have come down this much. And it could be related to that speed, but I've always thought of him as a really good right fielder. Now, maybe he benefited from being in that weird, short, shallow right field in Houston. He could rob home runs. It's a really good vantage point to throw from. And obviously, he was in some great lineups as well. So you have to keep all that in mind. Let's look at his swing metrics real quick. So really good at squaring it up, which is a really good thing when you have pop. Bat speed's only 50%, 50th percentile, roughly, which is interesting. I would have thought more considering the pop he does have. Swing length is long swing, but nothing crazy. I just think he has a great bat path. All right, so while I get in the chat here for a minute, I did take the liberty of queuing up some of his hardest hit balls from this past season. So I'm gonna throw these up here, and I'm gonna go ahead and zip way, man. We got a lot of good action in the chat, but I'm gonna go look for something to talk about here. I see the appeal of having the evil empire in sports as a fan, but I bet if one of these guys beaked at you during a bench clearing, you'd use signing with the Dodgers to call him soft. Wow. I mean, let me call a spade for a moment, though. I played my first 7 seasons with Colorado, and then I immediately signed with the Yankees, who had won 100 games the previous year. And if you watch pretty much everything that I said in that moment, now, of course, it was added as an added bonus that I'm from New York and grew up a Yankee fan. But if you look at all my comments that I made when I signed with the Yankees at the time, I said, look, it's great to be a part of a great team. I think that's the funnest part of this. Like, they don't need me, and I think it's hard maybe to understand that from a player's perspective. But like winning the World Series is really hard. And in baseball, you just can't do it yourself. And it's also a really long journey every year. And it's a hell of a lot more fun when you're winning every series. I know that's very simplistic look at things, but like the 2022 Mets, for example, we basically won every series that year until September. Like we were just winning series, like 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. Like you're just riding a good high. You're not as stressed. That's a freaking blast. And so when you've been through rough seasons that are up and down and are strenuous and tough and all that, like you can understand why somebody would want to take the quote unquote easy way, even though there is no such thing as an easy way. Here's a home run he hits off Sevy. And then I'm going to go to the side angle on this because I want you guys to see something for a second. He demolishes low pitches. He's got a great bat path for that. So if we go to the third base side view here, show you what I'm talking about here. So Tuck does a thing where, like, if you watch his hands right there, they kind of lag back and they get into this slot, like right as the wrists kind of go from here to here, and then he just buggy whips them through the bottom there. And that path is very like, it's not incredibly scoopy, but it's a little bit scoopy with like perfect loft. So like he gets the benefit of like coming up on the ball, but also kind of back spinning through it. Like it's not too steep. But he gets those hands ready, so there's no lag in that. I think it's probably something he's been working on for a long time, but his hands naturally sink back so well. And I don't know. That's why I think when I first saw him coming up, he was one of the first young guys that I had seen that had kind of mastered that I refuse to roll over swing. Like they just like gonna keep the palm up on the left hand if you're a left-handed batter, so that would be your top hand. You're gonna keep that up the whole way. And that's kind of the cueing that you see. Mookie's really good at it. You watch a ton of hitters do it now. But when I was coming up, you would see more like the guy wanted to swing down to then come up. That's what they would be practicing. That's what they would be cueing. But like they wouldn't be laying the bat back like that. But that's what Tuck does, and so it's very impressive. So I'm going to take down this comment here and try to look for something else for a second. But you're not wrong that it would be tempting to call somebody soft, and a lot of people would definitely go there. But me personally, because I've done something like this, like I wanted to go to a winning team and play with other great players, or any great players, like I always wanted to do that. So I don't know. I think it's pretty intoxicating when the Dodgers, back-to-back champions, offer you the kind of dough that they just offered him. So from his perspective, it's like, I mean, I guess he had 3 really great offers, but in a lot of ways, it's pretty much a no-brainer for a lot of guys to do this. So anyway, I guess you guys can see what I'm talking about with the layback of the swing. And this is him when he's right. Like, obviously, these are really hard hit balls. Most of them are going to be down in the zone, as you can see. So, I mean, there's ways to pitch Tucker, but he was a big-time free agent for a reason. He's the right age, and he's the right combination of everything. Even his red flags aren't that red. So, he was always going to get paid a lot of money. And I'm glad to see it. I mean, people were like bitter at him. I remember because I played with him in the WBC going back to the last one in USA, and people were kind of like mad at him for not like wanting to accept the extension offers that Houston, I guess, was tossing at him. But obviously, he's proven right now. So, all right, so let's move up here a little bit. Tucker can also crush IVB. I mean, I think he's just a really good player. Let's go see. I mean, he homered off me in a huge CS game. I tried to go fastball. I guess that was kind of the thought process a little bit was like get above the barrel if you can, but it's a small window. You got to fit it in there. All right. So what was the I mean, yeah, I mean, look, he's 10 run value versus four seamers last year. Sorry, I got to reload my screen here. 10 run value versus four seamers last year. Also crushed sinkers and changeups. Slider, that's probably just an identification problem. So he has a little bit of a whiff. Sometimes he thinks he's swinging at a fastball or whatever. But man, the Dodgers are good. I hate it's just like, and I don't really care. Like I'm gonna be excited to watch their games. It's gonna be fascinating to watch this group of players roll out together. But I'm also gonna secretly, like deep down, probably want somebody to take them down. It'll just be so impressive. Um, to beat this team head to head, especially like if you're a right-handed pitcher and you go in against this lineup and you shut them down, that'd be just so cool to watch. So definitely looking forward to that, and that definitely left some other teams scrambling. But let me get back in the chat here. I feel like Tucker is a stronger Jeff McNeil. Well, he does square up the ball pretty well, like Jeff, but a little bit different. Jeff's been a million different hitters in the past little while. All right, here we go. It does seem crazy. He has the highest AAV ever over Soto and Ohtani. Yeah, like normally I don't like think about the money stuff that much, but the numbers have been huge today, huge. And we get to Bichette, that was a number I never thought I'd see either next to his name. I know it's less years, but this number, this AAV being the highest all time, did not see that one coming. I thought people were gonna like him to the probably the tune of whatever the Blue Jays offered him, which I'm just gonna guess if it was a longer term deal, it's probably over 300 million. But I didn't know if people were gonna like him in the short term the way that he's been valued. The 60 million AAV is incredible. That is incredible. All right, what else we got here? So is this true? I mean, we'll get into Bo being a Metro in a little bit, but is this true that this wasn't a straight pivot? Because it's been reported, at least, that the Phillies were in agreement with Bo. Basically, I mean, he hadn't signed anything, but it was like understood that the offer was going to be accepted until the Mets swooped in, and obviously that happened after the Tucker news. So I'm not 100% sure how that all works. But I'm curious what will be coming out in the reporting, or if it hasn't already come out. I just don't get how you can be an elite competitor and have that mindset and then simultaneously not want to actually try hard. I mean, here's the thing though, Maya. You have to try hard no matter what. It's so hard to get the bad players out or to get hits off the bad pitchers in MLB, let alone the good players. But it's also just so inspiring to play with greatness. And I think that's another thing that, like, game within the game, there's just a lot of layers to this question, of this idea of like how hard you want to be challenged. Like it's like you've been accepting challenges your whole life to get to this point. Um, and I just think in the journey of wins and losses, which in baseball, you go through so much of that. Like whether you're on an elite team in college or something, and every game's so important, and you go like 45-9 or something, to like being on a minor league team that maybe sucks, but you're a prospect, and like you're like 40-win team, like so like the wins and the losses and all of that, like it definitely strips out of you a sense of things sometimes because it's just so hard. Baseball's just so difficult that every now and then when you see another player next to you and they're like awesome to watch, that's also becomes a huge part of the experience of being in the big leagues. Like when I went to like the Yankees, for example, and I had played with great players in Colorado, of course, but like getting to see Judge up close, or getting to be with like Masahiro Tanaka up close, or CC Sabathia up close, it's just so inspiring, you know. And at some point, like you just want to be a little kid again and just feel inspired. And so, like, it's is it the easy way out? I don't know. I think there's no such thing, but I get it from a fan's perspective a little bit too. Like, you want to slay the dragon and not join the dragon necessarily. But it's like Tucker's already won championships, so his dynamic's a little different too. But I do think this is tricky. I think this is a tricky mindset thing for a lot of people. All right, let me try to move forward for a second. I'm sorry about this, guys. Okay. Rosenthal said Mets and Bo were speaking even before Tucker signed. Okay, I mean, maybe they were keeping in contact, but we don't know to what degree. We don't know to what degree. Um, okay, so big picture, does this change anything for the Dodgers? No. I mean, they were already going to be the favorite in MLB next year, certainly the NL West. I don't think that changes at all. If anything, it just stamps that even a little harder. You got to remember, really, the strength of this team in a lot of ways is the starting pitching, and now they added Edwin to the bullpen. So they're gonna high step into the postseason. That's no problem. Um, it doesn't really change anything. Where it changes things big time is like the Blue Jays didn't get him or the Mets didn't get him, right? And so now we have to immediately talk about the Bo Bichette to the Mets piece, because to me that is a straight pivot. I know that it's not technically a pivot if they were already kind of thinking about him and having conversations with him, but you know it seems pretty clear that this was a straight pivot. Um, and Bo Bichette, it's a crazy day for me personally, because his old man, Dante Bichette, was the hitting coach in Colorado one of the years I was there, and I've talked about it before, but Bo was around a ton. He was young. He was like 14. He was just fielding ground balls with Tulo and hitting in the cage and hitting on the field and just kind of being there. And then, I end up facing this dude, and then, now he's on the Mets and he's making 47 a year. So life comes at you fast, and I couldn't be more happy for this guy. But it's just like, I'm kind of stunned by the sequence of events here, to be honest with you. I did not see Bo Bichette being a Met. Now that he is, what do I think about it? I think a couple things. I think offensively, he's a really nice piece. I kind of like him at Citi Field. I love his style at the plate. Everybody knows he's probably one of the best contact hitters. He's got an incredible two-strike approach, something that I'm very fond of, that is not honestly utilized enough. It's hard to face it, folks. Guys who shorten up, Bo will give it to you both ways. He'll swing hard. We saw him basically, for all intents and purposes, win the World Series for the Blue Jays when he went dead center in that Game 7. But he's really known for his 2-out, grinder at bats, 2-strike hits. So this year he hit 311, 357, 43 for an 840 OPS. 840 OPS is super amazing with only 18 home runs. So I love him. He fits in beautifully. The diversity in the top of the Mets order is fantastic. That's the tough top three to face. Frankie is streaky, but I mean, his swing is so beautiful, and he also has a good two-strike approach at times. Soto is the hardest guy to face ever. And then Bichette, same thing, like just like grinding. If Juan's going to be on base all the time, that's really good, because I like Bichette with guys on base. He's going to make good swing decisions. Bichette doesn't want this smoke, though, Spectre. Just so you know, we could check it out, but he doesn't want the smoke. Polanco is an interesting signing. He played really, really well last year. So this is a totally reimagined top of the order. And then you have the maybes. You have Semien, who at one time was a beast, but hasn't been lately. You have Baty, who broke out pretty well in the second half last year. It's currently penciled in at DH. He was going to be the 3B. Then you got my guy, Alvy Francisco, who I will freaking die on this hill that I think he's going to be a superstar. I love Alvy. I'm so impressed with him. So hopefully this is the year. Bench, who I've heard nothing but good things. I'm excited to see. And then Tyrone's a hell of a center fielder. They definitely, obviously, were shooting for Tucker. So if they get Tucker here, Tucker's playing left. Benj and Tyrone maybe are duking it out for center. But yeah, offensively, I like it. Now, defensively is a little bit of a different story. We've mentioned how Bo has really scuffled on defense. First percentile outs above average. Now, I know he's not playing short anymore, and now he's got Lindor next to him. So Lindor kind of has the hole a little bit more plugged up, and he can just kind of read and react at third. But he's never really played third. A big talking point from Stearns and the Mets this offseason was run prevention as his Stearns specialty, defense, and then the first move follows perfect suit with that. It's Semien. He's a Gold Glover at second. So they're really strong up the middle. When you got Alvy and Terens behind the dish, you've got Lindor and Semien, and then whoever's in center is going to be very good, whether it's the young pup, Benj, or whether it's Tyrone. They're both outstanding in center. So they're really strong up the middle, but on the corners now, I don't know. Polanco's never really played first, so that remains to be seen, and Bichette's never played third. So why is Bichette bad now at short? It's range and it's his sprint speed falling off. It's not really a throwing thing. He's got a very normal throwing arm. 36 percentile doesn't bother me at all. Who cares? Very hard thing to gauge anyway. What are serious throws and what aren't from the infield positions? But it's a range thing. He's got no range, and you see how the speed fell off the cliff. This is the thing I was most worried about with Bo as a free agent in general. Is his athleticism going at a super young age? But at least at third, you kind of knock it down and you throw him out. So, it's interesting. I did pull some Bo Bichette. Hopefully these pop up. Yeah, some Bo Bichette fielding plays from last year where he makes some throws. These are, I think, his hardest throws of the year. So, yeah, tell him wash. But as you can see, I mean, when he needs to, it's enough arm. I mean, this is more of like the type of throw you're going to see from third base. He's going to be able to set his feet, get his feet under him, and fire it over there. And I don't think he has any problem doing that. So the throwing, I think, will be fine. Obviously, it comes down to lateral quickness, reaction time, also how good he is coming in on the ball. The best third basemen I've ever seen, obviously, Arenado is way above the pack. It's the quickness. Like, Nolan's slow, so it's more about quickness. First step, quickness is a big deal. Creativity, knowing when to bounce it over there, how deep you play, and then obviously the unknown factor with Bo is probably coming in on the ball with the bare hands, which if I had to guess, probably not his strength, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty nice backhand. Bichette double pumps a lot and is very inaccurate. Vladdy bailed him out all the time. Well, I will say one thing. The Mets, the Metropolitano first baseman that used to play for the Mets, you might have heard of him, Pete Alonso, was very good at scooping balls. So maybe that would have helped a Bo Bichette, but we have no idea how it will be with Polanco, or maybe I'm assuming Vientos. Oh, my daughter's calling me. Oak? I'm doing my show. Where are you? Are you in your room? All right, just keep the TV on and then just go to sleep. I love you. I'll come up later. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Peter Morgan Alonso is who I was talking about, and he was quite good at scooping. So it remains to be seen if the next Metropolitan first baseman, whether that be Jorge Polanco, Mark Vientos, et al., is as good as him at scooping. Because let's not take that for granted. I don't know if they have that metrically figured out very well yet. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I don't know. Maybe Adam's daughter wants some popcorn. No, she wanted me to lay with her until she fell asleep, but that's not obviously happening tonight. Yeah, Oaks was calling in to complain about the Dodgers too. She's very offended. She's very offended. She said, "I respect Andrew Friedman's ability, but I don't like this situation." She's more of a small market mindset. I mean, you see it. Bo's got a decent arm. It's fine. So I guess that's it. We don't really need to watch any more of those. But I don't know. It remains to be seen how this will play out. Now they paid him a ton of money. They paid him a ton of money. I don't know how I feel about it. It's interesting because typically when you're this age, 27 years old at the time of free agency, historically, that's very friendly to you, but mostly because you would think you get paid through 35. So you're looking at, if you're going back in time to like a Jason Hayward or a Justin Upton, guys that were free agents around this time, they got 5 or more year deals. The teams were much more interested in locking them up through an entire period of their lives. Mets just didn't do that. Mets just said, "Here's a 3-year deal worth way more money than you're worth," and that's what made me feel like it was kind of a weird, desperate move. But not desperate, but desperate in that they had to beat whatever the other offers were, and he was about to take $200 million, I guess, from the Phillies, and they decided to go about it a different kind of way. So it's been intriguing. I mean, Steve and the Mets have not been shy about these over $40 million AAVs, Verlander, Scherzer, etc. Okay, what do we got here in the chat? Phillies offered 7 years, 200. So that's less than 30 a year. So he got way more than that, and he's kind of betting on himself because he can opt out. He's got opt-outs in this deal, as we know. What does it say here about the opt-outs? Yeah, he can opt out after this season too. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows when he'll opt out, but he certainly can. So, it's going to be interesting how this works out, man. This is a whole new Mets team. As a Mets fan, as a team, as a player, as a person who cares about this club a lot and is going to watch a lot of these games, I am very fascinated to see how this offense looks. They're going to be annoying to face. Obviously, the bottom of the order is a huge deal. If the bottom of the order steps it up, then this lineup will sing. But if not, then it could be another frustrating season because I'm feeling very good about the top of the order right now. Very, very good. Now, can they get some more pitching, please? That's the next move. Is that the other shoe to drop for the Mets? Now they have all these infielders. I saw a funny meme, and here's the question. Is this team better, though? Well, it still has time to get better. That's what I'm saying. Now, I think Maya is on it because I think this is how most people feel. It's still sad, still a sad transition right now. These are all just new names. They're not real Mets yet. But I do think they can do some things still. I don't know about Cranberry. Is this a nickname? I've never heard that, but Valdez. I don't know if he's a fit for the Metros or not, but I could see them making a bold move here, man. They got a lot of infielders. They got a lot of infield prospects. They even have some extra pitching prospects. How do you feel about Tong? How do you feel about Sprout? Obviously, you're not touching McLean, but how do you feel about Jet Williams? How do you feel about Mauricio? How do you feel about Vientos? How do you feel about Baty? How do you feel about Acuna? How do you feel like there's so many guys here that you can think about. Benj even. Depending on how you feel as an organization about these guys, you probably have enough prospects that the world has heard of and have enough surplus value to go pry a piece out. Now, is it Skubal? I don't know. I would not trade for Skubal unless I had an extension already locked up. But they could do something, and I think they could really benefit by a little bit more firepower at the top of the rotation. I'm a big believer in McLean, Lightning McLean. I think he's the man. But it's still only been like 10 or 11 starts. Petey threw a lot last year. I mean, I actually like all these pitchers. For one reason or another, I have question marks for one reason or another, and I'd like to have a star. Like it's the Mets. I'm used to like DeGrom being there, Matt Harvey being there, or Johan Santana being there. Lots of guys over the years. So before my time. Obviously, this guy, Seaver. So I don't know. I'd like to see that. It seems like they're a little bit allergic to paying for it, so it could be a trade situation, but you don't build up the farm for no reason. I don't know. But Bellinger obviously is a potential here as well. But they finally did it. They finally did it. They made it. They did the thing. They signed Bichette. They spent the money. They flexed the wallet. Was it a little bit reactionary? I'm guessing yes. And the third base thing is going to be awfully intriguing, but in a way, I could see it being positive. I could see him being a good third baseman. We'll just have to watch it. We'll just have to watch it. All right, let me get back in the chat here and see how everybody's feeling. If the Mets can add one starter who can start a playoff game, another good bat, and a little more bullpen help, they will be able to compete, in my opinion. I mean, you can never have enough bullpen help, but generally Stearns is pretty good at having just an immense amount of depth there that they can churn through. And you really need somebody to pop, though. Curious what Justin Willard does with this pitching staff. I'm a big Hef guy, but new voice, new guy on the controls. You might get different results. Who knows? Wow, Dolander. This is it just says Dolander. So okay. Anytime I see any Rocky stuff, I'm into it. Sox need a bat. Mets need pitching. Sox have pitching depth. Feels like a perfect trade partner. Okay, now we're talking. Sox need a bat. So Mark Vientos, is that what we're talking about? He would be a good. He would. He's got it in him. Swaggy V's got it in him. I don't think you want him playing third though, and you got Contreras playing first. DH for the Sox is what? Yoshida? Maybe Casas when he comes back? Who am I missing? I'm definitely missing somebody. Oh, right now they have Duran in there. Okay. Duran could fit on the Mets too, not for nothing. Be another left-hander, but he could fit on the Mets. I don't know. But I could see, I feel a trade coming. That's all I'm saying. I feel a trade coming. I don't think Cole Reagans is going to be on the menu, Uncle Ted. I think they try to win. I think the Royals are trying to win. I think they're in their division. They're in the hunt. Even if the lineup is equivalent, it's better insofar the deals are all shorter, so much more flexibility. Yeah, so I see the vision a little bit too, Maya, to be honest with you, because it gives them a lot of maneuverability year to year. Like, what good is the money if you're locked down in certain positions? Then you got to take on dead money. Spend a little bit more now. You can be a little bit more maneuverable. Continue to hopefully graduate those league minimum salaries to the big leagues where they're good, and then you're a little more freed up. So I don't mind that. John Henry is the worst. Oh yeah, Red Sox fans are going through it too. Obviously, off the Bregman thing, we had that on the last show. I would definitely. Oh, my wife's in the chat saying that my hat with the hoodie is no good. So you want me to take that off? All right. I was just trying to be cozy. It's nighttime. Whatever. Baty's gonna get asked for a lot. That's true. Do I expect Fenway? Well, I mean, they did sign Ranger Suarez. They gave him a lot of money too, more than I expected him to get, to be honest. But yeah, the no trade clause Bregman thing was tough. They still have to do more stuff. It's pretty strange for the Metropolitans that they were one pitch or one play from the playoffs and they flipped over and changed an insane amount of the team. Yeah, I think a lot of this team was still from previous management, right? Billy and before Billy. So yeah, at a certain point you want to have the team you want to have, and you're just like, this isn't working, and let's switch it up. And maybe there's other stuff that I don't know about, but they made a decision. Oh, see? I'm getting something good here. I read that Baty is excited for the challenges to play outfield. Do you think his development has been hampered because he's been moved on defense? How do players deal with switches? This is a great question from David. Thank you for this question. Let's think about Brett Baty a little bit right now. Mr. Brett Baty. Honestly, I've always been a fan of him because he just looks the part, right? Like the swing looks great. He's righty throwing, lefty, good fundamentals, pretty good tools. Hits the ball freaking hard. At the beginning, it felt like he kind of swung in the same spot all the time. And that was a little bit of an issue. Like his swing plane had no adjustability, but he's gotten better with that. I think the approach got better too. I think the mental game got better this past year. And he was able to pop 18 of them out of the yard, which is no small thing. And only 432 plate appearances. Very good hitter. Even the defense, I think the defense is never going to be great. But I think that when he plays with energy and he's engaged and he's happy, which you have to be all the time, and I think he's learned that. He can be average to above average on defense. I think left field might be tough. He's got below average sprint speed. People think outfield's easy. It's not easy. Left field might be tough. I'm glad he likes to accept the challenge, though. That's a very key, important part of his mindset. That's good. I think, look, enough's enough. You're 26. This is the year. This is the year. If you're Brett Baty, you got to believe this is the year. So, yeah, you better be excited to take on the challenge. And what choice do you really have right now? The other positions are kind of spoken for, unless they're going to DH Bo a lot. So, also figuring out your DH routine if you do have to DH. DHing is really freaking hard. Hard to sit still. Everybody does it differently. Hard to stay engaged. Figure that out. Try to work on that if you can. I don't know how you would, but try. Oh, you liked it? You just don't like it with my hat? Well, I just want to wear my hat. Oakley's texting me. Oakley's not getting it. This stream is this not going to happen. I have to text her. I'm telling her I'm going to be a while, so better close her eyes. Anyway, I'll tell you a trippy thing that happened to me today. I was going to put this on the old Instagram, but I didn't yet. This got this in the mail. All right, got this in the mail. This was a trippy thing. Is this an invite to Old Timers Day? Am I a fucking old timer now? I would go. That kind of blew my mind though. So that was some crazy shit. Yeah, 78th Old Timers Day. What happened? You're over 40, so I'm obviously. So I was asking my nephew about this unk status, right? Clearly, I'm unk status. So, whatever. I can take it. I can handle it. I am over 40. I'm 40. Brett, my birthday happened. But I'm not old, just over 40. Mail from AARP incoming. Ooh, what's my secret? I don't know. I don't really have a secret. I guess I sauna. Yep, alumni classic. Oh, well, I'm not over. Okay, thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. All right, so what are we talking about? Brett Baty. Let's watch some of his dingers from last year. He's got thump. He hits the ball really freaking hard. Wow, this one's off Wheeler. Little cutter. You did him a favor, Zach. That ball's smashed, though. Also, the young guys with the Mets really vibe well together from what I've seen. Alvy and Baty, Mark, those guys are tight. They support each other. They're in each other's corner. So that's good. Better than the alternative. Oh, Hamilton, you're going to get it. Oh, another breaking ball in the middle. Don't do that. I remember in the very small amount of time that I played MLB The Show, I had like a Brett Baty prospect card, and he raked. Damn, this is a bomb. You go way up there in Nats Park. That's a bomb. Can we get the side view on this? Oh, we're not on the research tool, so no. How hard did he hit that though? He hit this ball 114. Brad Lord, my lord. Best Mets game of the year. Yankees at Mets, July 4th, Jeff McNeil legacy game. Maya, you remember every game. Who wants the crowd fund to convince Baty he's playing every game in New York? He does. He's better at home, huh? Way better at home. Have we looked? Is that a fact? Maybe. Man, he did have 3 WAR last year. Like people don't realize that. Like he kind of played his ass off. I feel bad for him that he's not gonna play every day. Probably a little bit. Okay, splits from 25. Yeah, I mean 870 at home, 870 OPS, 610 on the road. Man, what you up to on the road, Brett? Sleep at night, kid. I never really hung out with him. He never really came. He never really came to the veteran room and hung out. So, anyway, but his girl was always around. So actually, it's probably the same thing. This makes no sense. This'll turn around. This'll turn around. That's fluky as shit. Fluky, fluky, fluky. All right, what else we got here? Oof, this is such a real question on the break pod. I was telling my friend June Lee this the other day, who I met for coffee the other night. Yeah, 100%. I feel like that weird feeling, although it's been a little bit alleviated by the Italy thing since I'm playing for WBC. So now I'm like really like throwing and like doing arm exercises like religiously, like every day now, trying to make sure that I get through that, and as can be good or whatever. But yeah, I definitely feel that feeling of like, oh yeah, like it's January. Normally I'd be looking at the horizon of spring training coming in about a month from now. But yeah, so it's a little weird. Definitely a little weird. Um, I don't know. Felt more normal, I guess, when I wasn't playing during the season. But yeah, this is like your body's just accustomed to going. So for sure. For sure. For sure. Mm, no, not true. Me and Brett had a good relationship. I mean, I talk to everybody. I mean, I'm a chatterbox. I talk to whoever. That's not a problem. But no, it's just like at night in the hotels, like when we would chill, when we would kick it after the games, wind down. The star players or the veteran players are the ones that have the suites, and that's why you don't want people sitting on your bed. So the older players would usually hang out in there, and then young guys obviously would come. But like rookies, some rookies are there every night hanging out. He just wasn't really like that. He always had other things going on. Anyway. Ooh, we need to see it 95 in the WBC. If that happens, that would be very, very cool. That would be very, very cool. All right. All right, all right, all right. We got a lot of shenanigans in the chat. Alrighty, let's keep it moving. All right, so that was the Bichette move. So that's the first 2 moves. Obviously, it's all kind of circular here. Dodgers get Tucker, Mets pivot to Bichette, more things on the horizon for them. And now let's think about this guy who just got signed as well. This happened the other day. This was also a pivot. At one point, yeah, I was wondering the same thing, Brett. Good question. My text message. Good question. Maybe. This was also sort of a pivot, right? They were heavy on Bregman, the Sox. Don't get him. Next day, they come back with Ranger Suarez. So I love Ranger Suarez. I think he's an incredible pitcher. I actually want to watch him pitch a little bit. Sorry, Mets fans, I might have the 12 strikeout game a little bit against the Mets. Oh yeah, I made not pivot or panic. I made it like I think it was like high bidders and panicked pivoters. Some shit like that, but it was just fun. Wow, Flocks, thank you. What's up, my man? So, okay, so what do I think about this in general? Well, for one thing, the Red Sox have just an absurd amount of pitching. This is another way to go about it, and that's why I'm sniffing a trade with Boston as well coming at some point. Boston's going to do something. Well, hold on one second. I have to address this. Are you on the MLB? Watching me on MLB, or are you watching me on my YouTube channel? Because I think my YouTube channel might only be moderate ads, whereas I think the MLB one might be mucho ads. So I don't know. It could be that. Anyway, so they have so many pitchers. So Crochet, Suarez, Gray, Bayo, Oviedo. Let's not forget about Cutter Crawford, Patrick Sandoval, who are also both healthy and starters. And then on top of that, let's not forget about these gentlemen down here. Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, Kyle Harrison. These are all major league starters pretty much. Even Jake Bennett, who they did a one for trade, is on the way. He's coming. He's 25. He'd probably be in the big leagues this year at some point. So they have way too many pitchers. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but you know, they still are a little light, I think, on right-handed bat. Well, they could. I mean, there's just nowhere to go. We've talked about some trade options. I floated Royce Lewis out there as a possibility in my mind that could maybe work. And now we just talked about Mark Vientos. But yeah, they have too many pitchers. They have a lot of freaking pitchers, man. Anyway, Ranger Suarez. So interesting pitcher. We went over him a couple days ago on this program, but I'll go over it again, just the main talking points. The fear factor with Ranger is the drop in velocity. He's now averaging 90 miles an hour, pretty much flat, 90. So he's right above 90 miles an hour. I can't imagine living under 90 miles an hour in the big leagues. But Kyle Hendricks obviously did it. He has that type of command. But look at the fastball velocity by percentile. So it's never been high, but now it's 7th percentile. I just think he can't really afford for it to go any lower than this. Now, that being said, it's not his game. His game's not velocity. It never will be. His game is unbelievable pitchability. He just knows how to freaking pitch. He gets weak contact. He plays great defense himself on the mound. He's punching guys out looking. He's getting guys to chase. He's getting weak contact all day long. He does it with a pretty diverse pitch mix. 29% sinker, 19% cambio, 17% cutter, 16% curveball, 15% four seam, and 4% slider. Him and JT just diced people up all day long. Now, this is a question. Do the Sox think they can get that back up to 92, 93? My guess is yes. When I was with the Red Sox last spring training, they showed me some biomechanical data they had on me, and they were showing that to really everybody because they've been heavy stuff chasing over there and stuff development chasing with the Red Sox, being very aggressive. So, I mean, they looked at things like how your center of mass is moving, the sequencing within your delivery, and a whole lot of different stuff. But I mean, for me, they were like, yeah, like if you fix this, you throw 3 miles an hour harder. So I'm sure they have some plan for Suarez to regain his velocity or at least to stop bleeding it. But it hasn't hurt him results-wise. This was the past 2 years as his velocity has continued to tumble. He's done nothing but better. 12-8 both years, 346 and 320. 150 innings one year, 157 this year. Both whips in the low 1-2s. He's a stud. He's a stud. He's a freaking magician out there. He's a maestro. And look at the percentile rankings. And like, these might just seem casually awesome. These are actually fucking amazing. As a starter, you don't see this shit. You don't see 84th percentile expected ERA as a starter, especially a guy who's not punching out the world. So this guy deals flat out. He deals. So without further ado, I think I already have a game. I don't have it, but I can get it. I had his, I guess there is further ado here. Let me find my my game logs from Homeboy, because it was down here towards the end of the season. You know what? I will not do it to the Metros. I'm going to do it. We're going to watch him pitch this game against Washington. This is on August 24th, Philly and Washington. Okay. And I'll speed wash it, but you'll just get an idea of what the man's doing. What did I say it was? The 14th? See, this is what happens when I get text and then I forget. Nope, 24th. So, here we go. Boom. Ranges Suarez. All right, first batter of the ball game, Mr. James Wood.
And a called strike 3.
Well, punches out the first guy looking, so now I have to back it up and I have to watch the whole at bat. Sorry, guys. All right, so four seam, taken all the way. Slider off that. So this is his left-on-left approach. Much more breaking ball. But that's paint. Doesn't even get the call. So Marchand's catching this game too, not even JT. Then they go sinker in. So four seam was supposed to be middle, ends up in. Then he gets his eyes away, then comes back in, but this time it has run on it. Classic, beautiful. Gets in on the hands. Now they're going to try it again. They love that swing they just got. Gets the trigger, but it's back-to-back pitches with sink on it. 7.2 IVB. And then he's going to freeze them with a 10.7 IVB at the bottom. So I'm assuming he just sees that ball come out of the hand and he thinks it's not a fastball. Frozen pizza. All right, now he's going to punch out CJ with a slider. I mean, the body language on CJ is telling me that he's like, I can't believe I swung at this. But see you later. And then a Riley Adams pop-up, little cutter, little up and in cutter. I mean, that's middle, but it's still under it. I will say it's actually pretty impressive that he only throws like 89, 90, really. But his cutter is 88. That's pretty good. Usually you bleed more speed than that when you go to cutter. So, all right, second inning. I see my wife texting me that people want to know about the wine. So at the Clemente Museum in Pittsburgh, there's a little sinker rollover, and that's another thing he's good at. He's really good at getting ground balls, and he's really good at getting early, quick contact outs. He's always ahead in the count, constantly pounding the strike zone, so he does a lot of things really fundamentally well. If you're a Red Sox fan, this is a guy you're going to really enjoy watching pitch. Because, like, he doesn't really beat himself out there. All the stuff you usually yell at your TV about. Throw the ball over the fucking plate. You know, stuff like that. Like, this guy's got no idea what he's doing. Like, that's the, like, or a guy who can't field or something like that, or can't hold runners, like a guy like me. All the stuff you would yell at your TV about, you're not going to do that with Ranger Suarez. This is a really good cutter, by the way. Ties up Dylan Cruz right here. Former LSU teammate of Skeens, and that's just beautiful command. This is such a tough pitch to execute, guys, because you see where it ended up, but like if you throw this ball here, it's probably smashed, you know? And it's just like, you're talking like, I don't know, a couple inches over. Nasty pitch. All right, so third inning. Here comes the changeup. So righties are going to see a lot of changeups. It's a little dead fish piece. Alec Boehm looking sort of athletic on that play. Look at this changeup. This is just a beautiful little dead fish rollover. It's just classic pitching.
But you know, when he gets that surgery, he's going to.
Oh, anyway, so Clemente Museum in the basement. There's like this unbelievable wine room. Man, Bader's flow is just majestic. I mean, I keep getting distracted by the baseball game. I'm sorry. I want to tell you about the wine. But can we just take 1 second to look at the sex appeal that Harrison is throwing out here? He's got the Grateful Dead. He's got the hair. Tight pants. Man, is it getting hot in here? It's unbelievable. All right, Jacob Young. Met killer.
Came back later on, but guys rallied around him, didn't let it phase him.
No, that's what good teams do.
Down the line. For some reason, Bohm was playing in. Did he think he was going to bunt? Anyway. Hey, they got a hit, but it was a ground ball. That's how he gives up his hits. Mostly ground balls. James Wood. Ooh, 3-pitch punchy. Let's watch it. First pitch slider. Swing and miss. Wood's like, I'm not striking out. I'm swinging no matter what. Oh, now we're going to go in, and oh, terrible swing decision. And this is a guy who has good swing decisions, to be honest with you. So he literally goes slider, middle, anticipating the swing. So he goes to his gyro slider, which is his actual swing and miss pitch. Then he says, oh, you want to be in swing mode? I'm going to ram some shit up and in on you here. And you're going to think it's the same pitch because the other pitch just came out of that exact same window and went over the plate. This pitch is going to come out, but it's going to stay in. And James Wood makes a really freaking bad decision because that's how well that pitch was tunneled. And then he's going to say,
You know, at the same time, it
good
shows
night.
that around
So that was good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is the 2 speeds down curveball. He hadn't even seen one of these yet. He's already in swing mode. Ranger sees that. Where do you want to throw your curveball? Right below the zone, right in the dirt, every freaking time.
not scared of putting the
It's
ball
just good pitching. It's
in
just
the
command. You don't got to throw hard if you know where it's going. Now, would he get drafted? If he played in America, if he came up in America and he threw this
They're
speed,
sitting on one pitch, they're not
yeah, he
gonna
might get
miss
drafted,
in certain
but
zones
not very high. We'll have to ask Carl.
because it was not
I don't think Carl's watching tonight, but we have to ask Carl
They're sitting
Triano
on one pitch, they're not gonna miss
what he would give Ranger Suarez on a stuff grade if he was watching him in high school. CJ's got no shot, by the way, against this guy.
I think I got all 3.
All right, good.
Does Bader know that I feel this way? I think Bader assumes that everybody feels the way what I just said about him, to be honest. This ball's actually hit pretty decent.
I got all 3.
Little dead fish changeup.
That ball's hit well out to the left, right at Marsh.
That was Riley Adams, and this is Andres Chaparro. Ooh, he's not going to wait around again. He's going to ground out. Did he ground out on 2 pitches twice? 1 pitch and then 1 pitch?
Well, 9 pitches.
Hold on. He did. He had 2 1-pitch groundouts. Buddy, you can't do this. Thank you. All right. Paul DeJong called out on strikes. Let's see it.
Home runs and 50s. Well, let me correct that. 31 stolen bases last year. And DeJong down.
Oh, 4-seam down freeze. What was the pitch before it? Change up down, probably below the zone. Paul DeJong.
Outside.
Change up off the plate away. Still worked the same though. 4-seam bottom freeze. All day open after a changeup take. What was I going to say? Paul DeJong's in a competition with Volpe and Caballero a little bit with the Yankees. Every now and then, Paul DeJong does whack some homers, so we'll see. All right, Dylan Cruz again punched out the first time on that slider. Here's the changey.
Fly ball.
Not a good rep, but not a good pass either. Can of shit, and Brady House will also get punched out on strikes. This one's going to be a front door sinker. Can I help you, sir? Ooh, great catch by Marchand. Look at that. Boom. 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 Let's go. All right. I love watching the games. This is so nice. I can't wait for the games to come back.
You have to still just focus.
Brett, you're asking me about dominoes? You have an app on your phone. If you want it, you can do it. If you get it, though, get the thin kind. I like the thin kind. Yeah, the wife is starving over here. Because, you know, she worked out hard today. She told me that she sweat during her workout today, which means she worked out hard today. So she's probably hungry. But it was a strike, the pitch he framed. But I hear what you're saying. My wife is asking me if I need cheese sticks. Thanks. You guys are in here. All right. Oh, the story. I'm sorry. I'll keep going with that. So anyway, they have like this huge wine room down there, and there's all these barrels. And I guess basically they have some sort of partnership, or they have their own plot of land. I'm not even really sure, but they basically get grapes from wineries or from this plot of land, and people buy their own barrels of wine down there, and then people have a bottle exchange, and they're all different types of bottles of wine, and you can make your own label or whatever. So my label is like super terrible. We have to come up with a new one, but it says like Ottavino family on it. It has a little thing for all the people in the family, like a different logo or whatever. Like there's Snow coming down because my daughter's middle name is Snow, or like Oakley, oak tree, whatever. So there's some things, but I have rosé. I also have a Malbec as well from there, but a lot of I just think it's one of the coolest things ever when you're down there. There's like all sorts of famous players from all the sports that come through Pittsburgh have barrels. There's like Jerome Bettis and like Francisco Cervelli, actually, who'll be my manager at Italy, has some good ones. All sorts of baseball players, Pujols, I mean, you name it, they all have barrels. So it's a very cool thing. Anyway, look it up one time. Clemente Museum, if you're ever in Pittsburgh, Engine House Wines, 100% worth going to. They're good. Thanks for sharing sending that out there. Carl, I also got in the chat as we are watching Rangers. So Carl's a scout. So let's see. May not have plus stuff, but he's got plus command. I turn him in, but I don't think player development or many scouting departments want guys like him in today's game. Oi, oi, oi. I do think the way for a guy like this to do it, though, is to dominate on the big stage in college, which might get bigger now with the contraction of the minor leagues. Because I'm going to answer this question in a moment. Because if they contract the minor leagues and more good players end up in college, and college baseball continues to be better with player development and funding, the SEC, before you know it, people are going to be watching that a lot. So yeah, you could be, if you're a big dog and you're shoving at one of those schools and you're throwing 90, 91, well, then you'll get a chance, and then you just got to shove your way the whole way to the big leagues. But it's going to be hard to get a chance if you're not proving it against tough competition, obviously. Okay, favorite local NYC pizza. So I always have a few answers for this before we continue with the Ranger Suarez watching program. My local shop that in the neighborhood I grew up in, Park Slope, is Smiling Pizza. It's on 7th Avenue and 9th Street in Park Slope, Brooklyn. That is like my slice spot. That's like where that was my go-to growing up. Now there's others in Park Slope that are also very good. Pino's and Roma's are two of the best. Also Pizza Plus is also an OG favorite. Now, outside of my neighborhood, you got to hit all the famous spots. Lucali, of course. L&B Spumoni Gardens is a go-to. L&B Spumoni Gardens is a go-to. They did change owners somewhere along the line in my childhood, and it changed a tiny bit, but that was an OG spot. In the city, Prince Street, but I do feel like I generally get the itis after I eat that. And then up here, there's Johnny's in Mount Vernon, which is really good. And then north of here, when you get to New Haven, that's also tremendous. So those are my answers, even though that is not New York City anymore. All right, we got to keep going. All right, so we just watched somebody get called out on strikes. Robert Hassel?
Young.
I think that's what we're up to.
You have to still just focus. It's a close game.
Ooh, on the outside.
That's just paint.
Strike 3 call.
Nothing you can do, sir. It's a good take, actually. You're not really hitting it. It is crazy, though, how this ball, because of the nature of the ABS and the way that this box is on the screen, it's not like a 3D zone. So it looks here to the naked eye like it's way off the plate, But they're saying it clips. Anyway, it's fucking paint. Anyway, you want to draw it up. All right, Jacob Young with another hit. Okay. Let's see it.
2-2. Ground ball toward the hole. Another base.
Chopper through the hole. So 2 weak-ass ground ball hits for Jacob Young, and he's got 2 hits. Jacob Wood. Oh, man, poor James Wood. We got to watch all 8 pitches of his third punchy. Gives him the hat trick this at-bat. All right, spits on the slider. Second time coming up with a man on base.
Where does Cliff Lee fall into that?
Yeah.
We'll get you that one.
Doubles up. What would you be looking for if you were James Wood here? I wouldn't want to hit that sinker in off the plate, that pitch right here, because he's consistently executing that as a ball. So, but it's also, that's the same lane as the strike slider, so I don't think you can swing at anything out of that lane. So I'd be looking for something in the outer lane that doesn't feel like it has spin to it, but that's hard to look for. All right, so 2-1. Here comes the slow curve. That's what he got him with last time. Great take. All right, 3-1. How's he going to come back? Got a pitch to hit, but doesn't feel comfortable with that left-on-left sinker for whatever reason here. He could have whacked this ball. This was a dangerous pitch, but clearly not comfortable and not seeing it well off of Mr. Suarez. Well, here's a pickoff, and then here's a foul ball and a curveball.
Looks like Young's in a steal. Kind of dancing
Pretty good
around.
spoil. Pretty good pitch. Pretty good spoil. And then back to the slider.
3-2. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, and then he thought that was a fastball. So Suarez just did a really good job there of toggling, that sinker in and the slider with the same tunnel, and then breaks it up with the 2 speeds down. It's just really beautiful.
Bases.
Really beautiful pitching right there. All right, CJ, who punched out the first 2 times. He's going to get out with a curveball here.
Fly ball, right field. Castellanos over toward the line, hanging up there.
Look at Nick making a play. All right, 7th inning. So this is the 7th inning.
3 RBIs for the Phils. Ground ball, base hit into left center field.
Ground ball up the middle. Does Lindor make the? Oh, actually, it would be Story. Does Story make this play? Maybe. Either way. Base hit. Chaparro. Okay, he didn't swing at the first pitch this time,
One of his faves.
but he is going to punch out on a perfect changeup. Perfect freaking execution. Paul DeYoung. Curveball, curveball.
42 years.
It's a long time.
Straight up.
Skies it to center.
Bader. There he is again.
Makes the catch. You know, he's broadcast Cardinals games.
And then Dylan Cruz will wrap it up.
Over to first, picked on one hop by
Jams him on the cutter. So looks like righties. I mean, you know, look, we all know the strategies. It's nothing new. With righties, it's cutters in, changeups away, four seams up, backdoor breaking balls for chase below the zone. With lefties, it's that sinker in, it's the four seam away, it's the sinker backdoor away, it's the slider off that sinker line, it's the curveball, usually after the slider. So he's fucking good, though. Yeah, that's the bottom line. So I'm excited for the Red Sox. It's interesting, though, because they have been such a stuff-hunting team. And now, you know, they got this finesse guy in between Crochet and Sonny. So fascinating. And then we'll see who pops, and we'll see what other trades might happen. So, I don't know. What'd you guys think of that? I thought that was pretty impressive. Obviously, that's one of his best games, but you get the idea of how he pitches. Sometimes he's going to make a mistake down the middle, and they're going to get smacked, you know. But pitchability off the charts. Off the charts. You could see how uncomfortable some of those at-bats were, too. All right, Adam, kind of unrelated question. I was hoping to ask you about gyro spin. I've always understood it to be the sort of non-functional component of any spin, but does that actually have an effect? Yes. So this is a little bit of a complicated question, so maybe I'll take a moment to try to get into this for a minute. All right. So basically, two types of spin, right? Two types of spin. It's either, so if the spin is pure, like it's pure backspin, which is what a four-seamer would be like, or it's pure topspin, which is like what a 12-6 curveball would be like in its purest form, or if it has pure side spin, one way or the other, you know, you might think maybe like a sweeper, or if it's going the other way, you might think like a changeup. You see a lot of changeups that have this type of spin, 3 o'clock, right? Those are all normal ways of putting spin on the ball, but there's also this type of spin, right? Like as a bullet. That is gyro spin. Now, every pitch that you throw typically does not have 100%, what would I call this? Right now, my brain's not working, but let's just call it backspin. It wouldn't have 100% backspin, but it wouldn't have 100% gyro spin either. Now, sometimes they do, but for the most part, it's a combination of both, right? So the gyroscopic spin doesn't within and of itself have any effect of the movement of the pitch. However, gravity is involved in the equation. So when you throw a gyro spin, even though technically the spin of the pitch isn't changing the flight too much, because there's not that much active spin. By active spin, I mean non-gyro spin. So even most sliders are very low. Some of them are like even as low as single digits active spin. So for the most part, it's just going dead straight and gravity's pulling it down. But they have maybe a little degree of it that pulls it a little bit, usually to the glove side, although we've seen a few examples now of these gyroscopic sliders that go to the arm side, like Trey Savage or Tatsuya Imai, who's coming over right now, and even Michael King talked about it on the stream the other day. So that's what we're talking about, is basically how much of the spin is active or useful or non-gyroscopic. Four-seamers have a ton. And this is the other aspect of it. I mentioned how there's combinations of both. There are certain pockets within those percentiles where some fascinating shit happens. Like right around 80% spin efficiency or active spin, like my sinker was, right around 80%, 80% is a perfect window to get seam shifted wake typically. So that means the ball's tilted in a perfect fashion where it's mostly spinning backspin, but as you can see, it's not directly straight. It's a little bit to the side. So there's some element of gyro there. And then if you just orient the seams in the right place, that's when all the fun tricks happen with the air. The air particles cause rough air and smooth air, and then it causes the ball to dart. You know, so it's a very long-winded answer, and there's a million aspects to this. And right now, I'm tired, so I'm not being very scientific. But I hope that explained your question a little bit. If we go over here, I can demonstrate a little bit of what you're looking for when I'm talking about these qualities. If you ever want to check in on how your pitchers at home are doing, here's where you go. So you go to a player's StatCast page and you head down and you stop right when you see these two clocks, right? So the clock on the left is the spin-based movement by pitch. That is the spin that the pitcher imparts on the ball in terms of spin axis. But on the right, it's the observed movement. It's how much that pitch actually moved in flight. The difference between the two will let you know how much seam shifted wake, or how much seam effects, as we call it nowadays, added to that movement. And when you're looking at a certain pitch individually, you'll go ahead and look at this active spin category. So on Ranger Suarez's four-seam fastball, it's 80% active spin. That's not particularly good if you want your ball to have top of the scale backspin and lift in MLB. You got to be a lot closer to 100. But what did I mention about that 80%? That's 70-ish, a little bit below 80 to a little bit above 80 percentile. You get a lot of pretty cool darting movement when you orient the seams correctly. And sure enough, his sinker, 73 percentile active spin. He actually gets pretty good active spin on his curveball, which means he gets quite a bit of top spin. That aids a lot of drop. So it's intriguing to watch all of these. Here are his gyroscopic pitches. The cutter, 38%, and the slider, 37%. So those aren't pure gyro. They'd be a lot lower. Those numbers would be lower, which tells me that there's some aspect of non-gyroscopic spin as well as gyroscopic spin. So they're not going to be dead on the middle of the bullseye when I go to the bullseye on the page. They're going to be a little bit off the bullseye, see? They're a little bit to the right, the yellow and the brown dots. If they were perfect 0%, they'd be right in the middle of the bullseye. So not only does this chart tell you the movement, the closer to the bullseye you are, the more gyro spin you have. So that's a good rule of thumb to remember as we did a quick little chat on that. What happened to throw the ball, hit the ball? That still matters. All that matters. This is just understanding what you're doing a little bit, you know? And to be honest with you, the hitters, it's a reactive thing for the hitters, but anticipation's very important. So they actually had to learn all this shit too. And now all the hitters know it now too. They understand what's being thrown at them and how to anticipate a lot better. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy what's going on. Why throw a true screwball when you can get the movement with pronation and fingers? Yeah, you don't really need to throw a screwball because you can seam shift your way to it. As a quick example of that, growing up, I would always try to throw a changeup, right? I would hold like a circle changeup grip and I would try to like go like this. But my arm doesn't do a good job going like this. It's much better going this way. So instead, this is the grip we eventually learned for me. And I would throw it like this, just like a fastball. This is my changeup grip. And everything would eject off of it except for this middle finger. And then the middle finger would kick that ball into that side spin, and with the smooth part of the leather here, having the air pocket force it down. So it's crazy. You get that same action as you would impart on a screwball, except I don't have to contort my arm into a weird place. So that's kind of the magic. That's kind of the magic. This is a good question. I was actually thinking about this earlier. What happens with Kike now? I mean, is there any room? We've talked about the Red Sox and we think more's coming. Is there any room on the Dodgers for my guy? Because I feel like he can't play. He just can't play for anybody else. I mean, I know he played for the Sox. That's where I played with him. But, I mean, shit, they signed Andy Ibanez to be kind of like the utility guy. I mean, I guess they could punt Alex Call if they really wanted to, but he's kind of under contract. Other than that, there really isn't any room. Things always happen. but there really isn't any room. So it's a little weird. We'll see. Honestly, up until that, I heard that the screwball put the pitcher at risk of injury, but clearly was only half the answer. Yeah, and people still throw screwballs. Devin Williams throws a true screwball, and it's nasty. It's just like not a lot of people can do it. So I think that was part of the issue. I think it's just real. It's such a challenge to do it unless you're extreme natural pronator. Who cares about Kike? The deferrals are stacked. Yeah, it's true, actually. He could probably just sit back and wait. You know, he can probably just sit back and wait and see. Sweepers or elbow wreckers, they don't have to be. If you know what you're doing, they don't have to be. They don't have to be. But I do think that they have wrecked a lot of elbows for sure, but they don't have to be. Yeah, and Fernando Valenzuela was the king of the screwball. All right, so what about Framber and Bellinger? This is a good question, and that leads me to go look at our free agent tracker. And who is left? Also, well, first let me go to my my trusty. Wait a minute. I need the notes. This was my free agents. So who is left? Framber, my third best free agent. Gallen, Zach Gallen, my 11th best free agent. And then everybody else is gone. Everybody else has signed. It's impressive, actually, at this point in the offseason that this many people have signed. Very impressive. So I am a little, I don't know what's going to happen here. Belly, so there's three. Valdez, Belly, and Gallen. Valdez, Belly, and Gallen are the three on my top 20. Now there's also Gino and Bader, who are both going to get paid pretty well, I would assume. Although Bader, I know, is looking for a chance to play every day. That might be the tough part, lining up. Seabass, I think, is still very good. He deserves it. He's a good pitcher still. He would help a team right now. I know he's older. JV and Nick Martinez will sign. Giolito will sign. It's crazy we waited for this long, and there's been so much activity this week. That's true. Obviously, there's a lot of pitchers. But I'm just looking at the hitters. Talkman's a good player. Oh, Littell's in there. I guess I'm looking at the pitchers too. Corbin, Andujar. Ozuna's an interesting one because he's got a lot of thump. We talked about him. So there's more guys to go. I think now we're about to enter the really quiet part of the offseason because so mumuch happened today. I mean, shit, JT signed back with the Phillies, so we should probably mention that really quickly. I felt like this, we try to hunt for landing spots for JT Realmuto the entire offseason, and we couldn't find him. We couldn't find one. Maybe Texas was a team that I had looked at early that could have been a team in on him, but Boston made too much sense. I mean, Boston was another possibility, but it was just a maybe. But I don't think it would have happened had they signed off on that Bichette deal, the Phillies. Instead, they ended up bringing JT back, which I think is the best thing for everybody. He's actually in remarkably good condition, and by StatCast metrics, like physical metrics at least, for a 35-year-old catcher who's caught as much as him. It's actually amazing. He might be a freak of nature. Sprint speed, 76 percentile is a joke for a catcher in general, let alone here. And then pop time, incredible. Still great at blocking. I mean, at framing. No, actually, he fell off a little bit in framing. I bet you that will back around. That's super weird with guys like that paint, like Nola and Suarez. But he still threw a lot of guys out. He's really good at throwing guys out. Also, he's been about the same hitter for a while. I know he was a tick under 700 last year OPS. But I don't think he's losing anything physically, really. I mean, maybe a touch in the speed category, but who cares? I guess this would be my bigger concern is the bat speed. He's got to get that back up. I'm sure he's working hard, though. I don't know. It just makes sense. I didn't see him leaving. There was a question in here: who were the Phillies bidding against? I don't think they were bidding against anybody. I don't think they will. He's been asset framing for years. Really? I did not know that about him. I thought he was good at framing at one point. No? Okay. That bums me out. Catcher framing. Where is he? He's minus 16 since the beginning of time. Okay. Where's he good? He's good on the left. So he's good on shadow left. He's awful at the top. He's fine at the bottom. So it's the top, and then away to a righty, into a lefty, and the top are the two areas he stinks. It's so weird though. I've always felt like he was okay. I always felt like he was solid watching it. I guess I never studied it before. But I don't know, that's fascinating to know. Yeah, this is the area he's bad at over here. Guess we're watching clips now. I did throw to JT in WBC. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, you're just going to cherry pick a bunch of crap at this point. So, I think he was quite good a number of years ago, then fell off. Anyway, he's back on the Phillies. Honestly, it's such a blah move. I don't even know what to make of it because they're not any different. I did think that Bichette would have been. This part of the reason why I like it for the Mets, in a way, is because it didn't let the Phillies do it, and I think Bichette was I was saying he was the best fit for the Phillies because I think what he does offensively would have really vibed well with some of these dudes. And then they could have maybe reimagined the Bohm situation, but like it didn't happen. So now I don't know what the Phillies do. They're kind of the same team. I mean, offensively, they're the same team. I mean, they're going to run Justin Crawford out there. I mean, I know they have Adolis instead of Max Kepler. So, Nick, I guess, is the big question mark. I mean, even roster resource knows that Castellanos is not going to be playing for this club. Yeah, Weston Wilson still trying to get in there. What are my thoughts on ABS? I'd like the challenge system. I think framing will still matter. I think that you're only going to see a handful of challenges a night. But I think to me the thing that I like about it the most is just the human element of who's good at it, who's bad at it, who gets the right revoked, that sort of thing. I find that all very, 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 very fascinating. And I'm curious to watch it play out. Who's good at it? Who's bad at it? I hate it if it was overall. Like, I don't want every pitch called by a robot, but I like this. I like this. I think it's going to be an entertainment product. Will Quan be traded? I mean, if I was a GM, I'd be knocking on that door like crazy. They'd have to beat me away with a stick because I think he's really freaking good. And Stephen Kwan would make a lot of teams a lot better. Yankees, Mets, I'm looking at you guys. All right. Twins signed Victor Caratini. This happened today. How is old Victor Caratini and the Twins as a fit? So we were wondering about catcher fits. So obviously he was probably waiting on JT Realmuto or something, or maybe who signed first here? I don't know. But Ryan Jeffers and then Caratini, I guess, will be the other guy. They have him at DH right now, which is intriguing. But okay. I mean, he's a solid, platoon type catcher, switch hitter. Been at the Astros, actually sneaky pretty good the last few years. For what they paid. Yeah, I mean, last 2 years with the Stros, 744 OPS, 728 OPS, about half the games. Last year he hit 12 dingers. Really good at blocking. Not so good at framing, but not horrible either. Terrible at throwing runners out, which is always a concern in the new days. And then obviously sprint speed, who cares? But at the plate, he's an interesting player because he does a good job of not striking out. So at times that can be annoying. He can get some clutch big hits with 2 outs. But, yeah, Victor Caratini, that was a move. That happened. What else? Yeah, Rockies, Willie Castro. This one I didn't see coming either, but they get it. The Rockies go out and sign a player for a 2-year deal. Willie Castro to play third base, switch hitter, 6 years of service. $226 last year. Yeah, I thought 24 was the year. He was an all-star in 24. 24 is when he was playing pretty well early on for the Twins. But he really hasn't gotten it going yet. He actually was even a little better in 23. Come on, internet. Is this the same guy? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, this is the same guy. He went to the Cubs at the end of the year. I forgot about that. I don't know. I mean, the Rockies got a player. He's been around. He's going to play a little infield. I find it a little odd, honestly, his profile. He's fast, but yet he's got terrible range and outs above average category in the outfield, which is not where you want to be in Coors Field. I bet his numbers will look better there, but I don't know if he's going to be a valuable player or not. So I don't really have any feel for this, but the Rockies made a move, which is just weird. 2-year deal. Here's a homer. Yeah, don't throw it there, Chad. I think it's the Arise defensive profile for Arise. We're talking about Arise a little bit, man. We've had so much Arise talk in the chat over the past few weeks. I don't know where he's going to go and what's going to happen. I do think the defensive part makes it tough. Why do you think players like Quan and Bo are becoming unicorns, high contact hitters with high averages? Surprises no one wants to lose the Rise. I think you're going to see more of these guys develop soon. I think nobody's wanting to sacrifice power, but I think you're going to see guys find ways to train better bat to ball skills and better averages. I mean, 300 average might be a thing of the past because defense have gotten more sophisticated, as well as the pitching has just gotten so good. But close to 300 with some guys with good averages, basically. If you're looking at batting average, I think you'll see a little bounce back, a little return to form over the next few years. I mean, I don't think it'll be at the expense of power, though. So that's where guys like Quan. I mean, Quan actually went for it a little more last year, but Arise's lack of power is troubling. He should swing bigger with no strikes. He's so good with 2 strikes anyway, but take some more chances early. What do you have to lose? He should take more chances, Arise. I really think so. Yeah, I don't know if this is real or not, so I can't comment on that. That seemed crazy to me. Yeah, 3 true outcomes with bad defense is dead as well. Defense. The thing is, you got to be a more complete player now. This is the truth. Maya's on. I'll put her with her thing. She's 100% right here. That's the biggest issue with Arise. He just doesn't swing, man. His first pitch swing rate is so low. He should just go for it. Take some big hacks. You have nothing to lose. Literally nothing to lose, my friend. That's the way I'm looking at it. How are we doing in the chat? Got 81 people vibing right now on my channel. Another 60 over MLB, it looks like. So I don't know. We kind of flew through a couple of those moves faster than I expected. I guess a lot of the drama was where they're going to go. We'd already talked a ton about. Those players already individually. Okay, here's a question. Here's something to explore. We'll head back to our Mets land. How do you configure the Mets on defense? This would be this Mets team would be such a fun challenge to manage this year. So let's think about this. My thoughts: Baty third base, Bichette DH versus righties. Bichette third base, and Vientos DH versus lefties. If Baty can play left field for like 30 games, even better. So I don't think this is the final form yet. I think they are going to find an outfielder. So for one thing, I think the Baty to the outfield stuff, okay, it could happen, and maybe it'll happen some. But I don't want to take away his regular at bats, and I don't want to totally platoon him either. I do think Bichette sees quite a bit of time at DH, though. I do. This is why I think a trade might be coming too, because it's hard to get Mark, and it's hard to get Vientos in there. This comment right here makes sense. It's gonna be tough to get Mark at bats right now. I mean, I guess there's a world in which you could have played him at first, or you could DH him, especially versus lefties. I agree with you, Maya, on that, but man, this is a little bit of a challenge. And on top of it, you got this guy, Ronnie Mauricio, who, I don't know, when you watch him, you just feel like there's more there. I just don't want to. I want Baty to face some lefties, and I know it sucks if he doesn't get to face them, because you can become such a better hitter when you're forced to face same side pitchers. I know you might go through some growing pains, but you're ever going to become a dude in this league. Can't be a platoon guy. It just gets weird quick. You know, it's not what you want. You want to be a full player. What else we got here? Baty or Vientos to Pirates makes sense. Pirates want more hitting. They've tried. They can keep going. I agree with that. Oh, yeah, we didn't cover this trade. Yeah, we could look at that too in a minute. Whether Bichette will be willing to DH is the elephant in the room, and you probably trade Vientos over Baty as a right-handed bat. Baty and Bichette can at least platoon. Yeah, I mean, I think also the nature of the short-term contract, right, Maya, I think makes this a little interesting. Like, he probably won't be as willing because he needs to play the field to maintain his free agent value now. If it was, if this was a 12-year contract, then it's like, who cares, a little bit if I play the field or not. But I think he does. I think to your point, he does have to play field quite a bit. So that could be an interesting proposition. I don't know. I wonder how they brought that up. Hitting lefties doesn't matter unless you're a right-handed batter. Yeah, it does. If you're a left-handed hitter and you can't hit him at all, it's tough to make you play every day because there's a lot of lefty pitching in this game. But I hear you statistically. I just, philosophically, I don't agree, I guess. Still think Mets-Padres trade is a high possibility. The Mets could go a lot of directions with some of these guys. They really could. I bet you this doesn't keep up forever. I bet you that number comes back closer to 50-50. I don't think it'll be over to 50-50, but I bet it'll trend. I bet it will trend. Good players tend to be, right? Tend to be very prideful. Gotta be. But I think in this case he has no choice but to play some infield. I also think third base, we looked at the throwing arm. I think it makes some sense. Tell us how you feel, Yankees girl. We have screwballs in big leagues right now. There's a few. Brent Honeywell. I don't know what this means. Oh, it's not there anymore. It's gone, unfortunately. The lab is no mas, but it was great. I mean, worked great for me for a long time. And there might be a facility in the future, but I know, I'm sorry. I have to get in there to see what you guys are saying a little bit. I actually in a way I don't mind him at third, because if he has no lateral quickness, if he has no like real range, he doesn't have to cover as much ground at third, but I guess we got to watch it to see it. No, Strasburg cut his changeup. It was like a seam shifter. He had one of the OG seam shifters, nasty. And then I would say for me, it's a screwball. I mean, he has his own name, the Airbender, but for me, it's a screwball. I don't know. A lot of it is just like kind of just, I don't know, different nomenclature for, that different people say. All right, so what was the 3-team trade? This one was crazy. Let's get into this for a second because Mitch immediately wrote me, my buddy Mitch immediately wrote me, and he's like, what is happening with the Reds giving up Gavin Lux? Why did you do this? And I think it might be a salary dump. What's Gavin Lux making this year? Is he like an ARB or something? What's his deal? Yeah, I mean, I guess he's an ARB, so 3.325, and they don't feel like he's going to play. So is that why this move happened on their side? Matt McLean, everyday second baseman. They feel good about that. Key Bryan's locked in at third. Ellie's locked in at short. Also in the infield, there is, I don't know, Tyler Callahan. And I know this has been true. Gavin Lux has been pretty mediocre for a few years. I know that is facts. But the Rays are going to pick him up. They're going for him. So let's go look at Lux. Now, Lux, if I recall, he might have been the #1 prospect in baseball at one point. He crushed it in AAA. And that's his calling card is batting average. He's supposed to be in a rise, right? He's supposed to be one of these dudes. 724 OPS last year, only had 5 home runs, 269, 350, 374. So he's got some on-base skills. That's the thing, 96th percentile chase rate. Very good at not swinging at balls, doesn't whiff a lot, strikes out more than you'd think for some reason with that profile and gets walks. Fortunately, his impact is not very, doesn't do much to inspire. Not a lot of power, as I mentioned. That average exit velo, 24th percentile, only 10th percentile barrel rate. Defensively, he was a butcher last year. -9, not even qualified, and he was -9. So defense kills the war and the value. So good in AAA, fell off a cliff when he got to the MLB. He got some hits off of me. My dumbass tried to throw him changeups. I feel like he gets bullied pretty bad by big velo and by really good gyro sliders. A lot of gyro slider miss in his game and weird rollover. Actually hit four seam pretty well last year. I'd be curious versus what type of velo. I always felt like his load's a little rough. But he's going to go over to the Rays. So, not with Cincinnati for hella long. And let's see what we got on the Rays. So, they have him as the leadoff hitter here. And starting second baseman. Now, they did get rid of Brandon Lau. He went to the Pirates in that deal. So, this is the Brandon Lau replacement. Lux, Yandy, Aranda, Caminero, Mullins, Fraley, Walls, Simpson, Fortes. This is basically a rental, too. He's got 5 years of service. So this is just they're plugging a hole at $3 million. This is a pretty good comment here. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But this is also always a possibility that the Rays turn him into a freaking all-star because it's the Rays. I don't know. Are they definitely going back to the Trop this year? If they are, contact game can play. Infield's pretty fast there. They tend to play a very annoying style. Maybe he picks up some tips from Yandy. I think Yandy's so good. So, I don't know. That's from this side of it. Lux has been a bit disappointing, though, I would say, overall. No doubt about that. The other pieces in this move, Josh Lowe goes from Tampa to the Angels. There's also a minor leaguer, Chris Clark, going to the Rays. Rays always find a way to get some hands on something. And then Brock Burke, who's a pretty well-traveled left-handed reliever, goes to the Reds. That's kind of, again, I think it was more of a salary dump in a way for the Reds. Is Brock Burke making money? 1.15, so it's about a $2 million difference. I don't know, just kind of a weird one with the Brock Burke part of this. But, okay, Josh Lowe So he had 11 dingers last year, 650 OPS, was kind of blocked. Where will he fit with the Angels? Angels made a ton of little moves. They have him in right field right now, penciled in. It was Teodosio was in there before maybe, or Wade Meckler, but Josh Lowe is penciled in there. No, they needed a left-handed bat. They've been insanely they looked insanely right-handed when I looked at them not that long ago. You know, Trout, Adele, Soler, Hoppy, Grisham, Moore. I mean, it's crazy. So much swing and miss. Ward's out of there, so they needed an outfielder. So definitely needed a lefty. This is the one they end up getting, and they didn't have to give up a whole lot, obviously, I don't think. Maybe we don't know much about that prospect. I guess I could look into that prospect. Yeah, other than that, they only had Shanuel. So they need a lefty. From that standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Everybody's in here. So yeah, it looks like it fed some needs for teams. You know, Rays needed a second baseman, replacement for Brandon Lau. They get Gavin Lux. Angels needed a replacement for Ward. They go get Josh Lowe. Reds had no space for Lux. They end up getting a lefty reliever. He'll be in their bullpen, I believe. Let's see if Burke's penciled into that Reds bullpen. Gotta be. Yep, he's in there. So that gives them 3 lefties. Caleb Ferguson, Burke, and Mole. So that happened. And then there was the prospect in the deal. So kind of how good is this prospect? Chris Clark is now a Rays. So is he on the Rays list? Clark. Nope. Doesn't make the list unless he's still stuck on the Angels side of things, which I doubt because they are incredibly fast to upload this. And no. So just kind of a lottery ticket type prospect if he doesn't make the top 30, obviously. And the Angels are in the ultimate 1-year situation. They have a 1-year contract on manager. Perry Manazian's on 1 year. You've seen all the reclamations they've brought in. You've seen a lot of the stabs in the dark they've made. And yes, they need to win this year, and then we'll see what happens. Probably won't be good, but we'll see. Yeah, Christian Moore was a very good player at Tennessee. Ooh, and Mike Maddox. Everywhere he goes, they seem to be all right, so that could be a thing. Okay, could the Phillies sign Bellinger? Yeah, they could. Why not? You know, I actually did think they were going to be in on it, and the only issue is, what's the price going to be? The prices have been so high. They've been so high. I guess you just play him in center if you get him, or you move some pieces around. They'd have an awful lot of lefties, but he's a good baseball player. I mean, he would make any team better. Honestly, I think Yankees and Mets are both going to be pretty heavy for Cody, so we'll see. Maybe the Blue Jays circle back to Cody Bellinger too. I don't know. Blue Jays fan here. I would personally trade Santander. All the other players work well, and most are utility players. Yeah, so the Santander thing has ended up being weird because, you know, he was hurt a lot last year, really didn't play well. He was incredible the year before for the Orioles. It was kind of a lost season. At the moment, he's still the 4-hole left fielder. Now, he's horseshit on defense, but he's one of the better hitters I've faced in the big leagues. Straight up. This guy can grind at the plate. So if he's healthy, he's not too old, 31.2. He should add a lot to this offense. I know that not getting Tucker was a big deal. That would have been a huge upgrade in terms of certainty, but I love the Okamoto signing so much. I like what they did in the rotation. You know, Bieber, Ponce, Cease. You know, I'm not the biggest Cease, but he's undeniably a good pitcher. So, you know, the Blue Jays, you know, we talk so much about them. Santander is a major X factor on this team. Major. He was just flat out bad last year, correct? But I think hurt. Yeah, I mean, god awful. This is incredibly bad. I mean, he had 44 pumps the year before with an 814 OPS. It just never got off the ground this past year. Just never got off the ground. So he's definitely better. And right now he's got no trade value. You also got to remember he's got no defensive value. So it's tough. But Look, just hang with this guy. He might be really good. He might be really good in a year. Let's just watch. Let's just watch his furthest, most impressive nuke in 2024. Get him out of your 2025. Oh, it's against the Jays.
1-2 the count, and Anthony
Coño Diablo.
has hit it out. And way out.
That's a nice shot from Tony Taters. So maybe you'll get some more of that. Maybe you'll get some more of that. That'd be fun. Expect to bounce back if he's healthy. You know what's funny? Because we're talking about the Blue Jays, it gave me a moment. Because earlier I was messing around on YouTube before the show, and I stumbled across some Okamoto video, and this cracked me up. Hilarious. This was so freaking funny, and you have to watch this clip along with me. I think you guys will enjoy this real quick, okay? Look at Okamoto just at a practice for the Tokyo Giants, maybe last spring training or something, and kaboom! Right off the butt cheek. And then look at this guy. He's like, and then the very next at bat, almost takes his head off. This guy can hit, man. Everybody that I know that watched Okamoto play baseball in Japan was very impressed with him. And I'm excited to watch him on your Jays this year. Just a good freaking hitter. Also has tremendous power, but just a good hitter. So I thought that was great. So I wanted you guys to see that. Considering we were talking about the Blue Jays. But I think Okamoto is going to be fun to watch. Big Oak, Big Baby. What do they call him? I mean, shit, they have him in the 7-hole this year. I have a hunch he's going to be really good. I really do. Murakami all day. 117 mile-an-hour exit velos with dead balls in Japan. It is true. I mean, he's got stupid power. When we watched Murakami earlier on video, he was hitting balls like out of the stadium. So I don't know. We have all the same questions as everybody else on Murakami, and I cannot wait to watch White Sox this year because they have some exciting guys to watch finally. Murakami being the main guy. But I think Okamoto is going to be really good. Alvy, 5-war season, book it. Let's go. I love it. Francisco Alvarez, the best. 786 last year, OPS. He's coming. Once he, unscrewed his swing, good things happen. Here's a nuke. This isn't Coors, so take it with a grain of salt, but this is a nuke. Hold on, we got to back it up because my screen wasn't ready. Boom. The best. Right on his throat. In red ink. I couldn't love him anymore. I really couldn't. He's got the strongest hands I've ever shook. Is this man, his paws. Fortunately, he keeps breaking his hands, but off Taiwan. That sucks. That ball's crushed, though. That's David Wright-esque. Second deck in Philly to left as a Metro. Boom. El Troll. What a stud. Anyway. I digress, but there's Alvy. So we all believe in him. What else happened? Anything else? We looked at that trade. We saw that. Blah 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 blah. We've gone it all. We've gone over it all. We've done it all. We've seen it all. There's nothing there. See, that's the beautiful thing when you don't even have to lift the toe and you're still whacking homers. Pretty good place to be. Well, I thought maybe we would even keep going and going and going, but I'm pretty cooked. Folks. I think this was a fun Baseball After Dark. We covered everything that happened. We watched Tuck for a bit, hit some balls hard. We watched Bichette field a little bit. We watched Ranger almost pitch an entire game. We even watched Okamoto hit a line drive off a pitcher's butt cheek. We did a lot today, folks, but I had a good time doing it. Thanks for hanging with me today on both MLB and on my own stream. You'll see now I added a little schedule to the final screen so you can be reminded. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is Baseball and Coffee most of the time. If I do switch it up into a night show, it's typically because I have something to do. So next Friday will also probably be a Baseball After Dark. But Monday, you will get a baseball and coffee. We'll be here, and hopefully something else happens this weekend, and then maybe we'll talk about some international signing prospects if I have a little bit more brain power at that time. Should have Charlie Blackmon on at some point. It could be Wednesday. It could be the next Wednesday. I should probably start calling in some more guests, but I will. I will shortly. So anyway, thanks for hanging with me tonight. This was awesome. You guys are great. Also, playback. This is hilarious. Get a playback account. Playback folded. Bet you didn't know that. All right. I don't think we actually have the dominoes, but if we do, I'm going to go whack that. All right. Have a great weekend. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. And I appreciate that this is good for the West Coasters. And hopefully I will be on actual broadcasts watching the games, talking about what's happening on the field. So we will see. We are working on all sorts of things. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Have a great one. Asta. You guys are the best.